Welcome to the My Crazy Office podcast with the authors of Working With You Is Killing Me, Working For You Isn't Working For Me, and Mean Girls at Work, Kathy Elster and Catherine Crowley. They're committed to creating world peace one crazy office at a time. And now, here are Kathy and Catherine.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Elster.
And I'm Catherine Crowley, and welcome to My Crazy Office.
And today we want to welcome back our very talented guest, Mike Kaplan. And you must remember, it's the MYQ Mike.
Yes.
That's how everybody remembers him. How are you? What's going on?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me back.
anytime.
Happy to be here. Things have been good. I just put out a new special on Netflix. You can see an hour of my comedy there.
Oh my God, how do we find that?
You just search for my name, Mike Kaplan, and Small, Dork, and Handsome is the name of the special.
Can I rent it? I'm a
you
Netflix subscriber.
If you should just find a friend who is a Netflix subscriber, borrow their password, and then get in there. Or, I mean, maybe I should encourage you to become a Netflix subscriber.
Yes, I
just
think
for
you
No, I
should.
am.
for-
I am.
Oh,
one,
if you are
actually.
one, then you can just go click on
Cool.
it, download it, or stream it, and
Yeah.
or you could download it on iTunes. There's a lot of ways. It's
Okay.
audio on iTunes and video on Netflix.
Excellent.
Cool.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to that.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Great. So, Logan, do we have some questions today? We must.
Do. I recently gave a presentation to members of my department regarding an important change we need to make in our way of doing business, and it lost my cool. One of the three people who always finds a negative side to any idea challenged my proposal about revamping our customer intake process. He said, "This doesn't look like much of a solution to anything." I could feel myself getting hot under the collar, and I ended up blurting out, "If you're so smart, why don't you come up with a solution?" My anger created a tense environment and left me feeling unprofessional. How can I handle this kind of situation better in the future?
Yeah, not good solution. Cool. I mean, nobody really wants to deal with that at work. Everybody's just like goes running and looking the other way. Like they become so uncomfortable when someone loses their cool.
Well, what's interesting is in this kind of situation, losing your cool is also losing your power, right?
It lowers your...
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you find yourself being defensive when you're trying to present a new way of doing things, then you sort of lose your the flow of what you're trying to do and the constructive feeling of what you're trying to convey.
But if you're the big boss and you lose your cool, you have more power.
you have more intimidation and fear power, yes.
Oh, intimidation, fear is not power? I think it is in
I
some,
mean,
in some
yeah.
Yeah, you have
countries.
more negative power.
Mussolini and
Yes.
Yes, you have people who are frightened of you. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. It's hard to say. Like in the future, try handling it by not doing that. I mean, it's pretty
Yes, that's exactly right.
basically straightforward.
That's true. Well, I have something very concrete to say about
Well,
this.
of course you do.
Well, because first of all, everyone runs differently. Some people run hot, some people run cool, some people get anxious, some people get teary. If you know you're a hot person, you run hot, then you really need to prepare yourself for any situation where you suspect that someone in the group is going to challenge what you have to
Like
say.
every day at work.
You do. And I mean, I tell my clients a lot of times when they're about to go see their family, you need to write a list of what you know they're going to do.
Oh yeah, that's
Right?
a great.
That's
yeah,
good.
This person did say that this person always finds the negative idea, so they
Right.
had to know that was like it's not a surprise.
That's right.
So
Right,
don't get
right.
angry at a thing that you know is it's if it always happens, it's clearly not your fault. If your idea is bad, then come up with good ideas. But if it's
Right.
a good idea and the person always finds fault, then you have to know that they're going to do that. And hopefully everybody else knows that also and won't just judge by
That's
their
right. They do
reaction.
know that. That's
Yeah.
a really good point, Mike. And I think it's the notion is to prepare, but to prepare yourself not just in terms of the information, but psychically you need to prepare yourself. So I know so-and-so is going to find fault with what I have to say, or I know this other person will probably be on their phone while I'm talking, or I know this other person will always tell me it costs too much money. And actually, Kathy, you taught me this with sales. You always prepare for the objections, right?
Right,
That
right.
you know will be coming towards you.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's interesting because I think we do get upset at the things we already know are going to happen.
Yes.
And part of it is I get upset because I knew it was going to happen. It's almost like, why
And
are
you
so
don't want it
predictable?
to be that way.
Why are you just so predictable?
Yeah.
Why do you always, have to be that way?
Oh, yeah.
So how do you prepare for that?
Well, that's where you and I, in all of our books, we talk about acceptance, right? And which everyone hates because they think acceptance is equivalent to approval. Like, I know this guy is going to shoot holes in my idea. That's not approving. It's just coming to terms with that's what's going to happen. You may not want them to do it, but they're going to. So I usually, and we both actually often recommend that you write a list of acceptance. I accept the fact that, Harvey's going to find fault with what I have to say. I accept the fact that he never sees anything positive in anything that anyone presents. I accept the fact that I don't like him.
So once you do that, you can actually laugh at the person and the situation walking in knowing
You can
it.
laugh quietly to
Yeah.
yourself.
But we're
yes.
not out
I think
loud.
if you laugh, ha ha ha, Harvey, you're at it again.
Negative Harvey.
Yeah, exactly.
That wouldn't work?
Negative Ned.
I mean, potentially, if in this situation, if you're prepared, I mean, sometimes part of a presentation is, coming up with, like you said, the objections, like what negatives, like you might
Yeah.
have, and hopefully ways to address them. So
Yeah.
if you're like, I know you might be thinking that this might not work for
Yeah.
these reasons, if you're a negative person, like you are all the time, but here's the things I have to say to that.
Right. Or you could say, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely.
Even if you're not.
I mean, it seems like this is a situation where obviously without the specifics of the problem and the solution that's being tested, like it's something that nobody knows what the solution is yet. So at least
Right.
this person is trying something, like,
Right.
and being negative is not necessarily going to help at all. So just as like, let's just try it. Here's the idea. Like, or I mean, they could say the same thing that they said, but without being angry and be like, well, I mean, I really appreciate this feedback and this criticism.
Right.
Like, what do you think would make this a better idea? What
Right.
would be a better idea? Do you have
Right.
better thoughts right now, or is this the best idea that we have?
Right. That's good.
Yeah, keeping your cool.
Keeping your cool. And part of that, I guess what we're all encouraging is just to prepare for, as you said, Kathy, what you know. What
Yeah,
you know
what you
is
know
going
is
to happen, what
predictable.
you know is going to be in the
And
audience.
stop being surprised by or
take-
caught off guard by what you know is going to happen.
Or taking it personally, right?
Yeah.
Because we all
Ah,
also
right.
have our little splinters or hooks or whatever you want to say, those things that, it's some people are afraid of being disrespected. So someone like this
Yeah.
could set you off immediately
Yeah.
if you know that's your go-to, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm ready to explode right now. I'm only kidding.
I mean, maybe
Hulk
these
smash.
Yeah, maybe these folks are just. I think there's like a spark. Maybe they're really just in love. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's it. It's a sexual charge.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He's like, yeah.
Well, for the guy who gets, or woman who gets angry, whoever the angry person is, they're passionate. And that anger, I'm sure, is great for them when they advocate for something or propose something or push something forward. The challenge they're always going to have is letting other people set them off,
Yeah.
which then makes them look out of control.
But any kind of extreme emotion in the workplace, whether it's laughing or
Yeah.
crying or screaming, all of that's a burden for other people to have to cope with.
Yes.
So you have to be aware of that.
Even laughing's no good.
Well, only when it's extreme, like the person looks really weird.
I've gotten in trouble for laughing, by the way,
You have?
in
You
workplace settings. Yeah. You're surprised?
Where? What kind of?
Well, and I was working in the Peace Corps as a recruiter.
Oh, the Peace
And there
Corps.
were no walls, it was just cubbies. And I would interview someone, and if they were very funny, I would laugh hysterically. And it bothered people. I understood it, actually. I had to sort of cover my mouth and try to muzzle it.
Would that be? Would a person who made you laugh, like, would that be positive, negative, or neutral? Did it not affect you either way?
You mean in terms of thinking they were a viable candidate for the
Yeah.
Peace Corps? No, well, it entertained me,
Sure.
no question about it. But and I can't help that I really enjoy humor, but it wouldn't necessarily sell me on
These
their
African villages are gonna be cracking up.
You do need humor to live overseas. I will say that.
Cool.
Anyway, we run far
Wow,
afield.
Catherine got in trouble
That's why I was surprised. I was like, Catherine got in trouble?
for extreme
What?
laughing. Wow, that is really some good story. All right, I'm sure we'll be using that story again, Logan. So we have another question.
Yes, we do. I have to go to a social function with my boss that's being hosted by a client I really don't like. It's a business reception that will include plenty of drinking. This client is always demanding, and I fear that I'll be approached with questions and complaints about our services while I'm at this event. How do I handle it? Do I drink with the rest of them and try to have a good time?
I have a real
boy.
specific thing that you could do in advance is, I mean, if you're going with your boss, like ask the boss, say, hey, it seems like this might be a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
How should I address this? Or, because you'll be there. I'm sure they'll both be contending with
Right.
that sort of thing. And the boss is in charge, so I would just follow their lead. If you get along with the boss, if you trust them and, if you're like, hey, we're in this together, hopefully,
Yeah.
and he's not just going to be like pawning people off on you. But yeah, if there's a way
Which
to...
is a
yeah.
possibility, but that's
Yeah.
actually, I think that's a great idea.
It is a really good idea.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing about any kind of social function that has alcohol, just don't drink it.
Yeah.
You know, bartenders, they spit it out under the bar. They don't drink because everybody's always buying a bartender a drink.
Oh, yeah.
I think, to be in a professional environment, it's best not to partake. There's always time after.
You mean you shouldn't be drinking when you're talking to the client, especially if they have complaints?
This is tea, guys. I'm doing fine. Yeah.
Are you sure that's
Drinking.
tea?
I don't know. Logan made it
I
for
put
me.
a little something extra in there for you, Mike, because I know we'd be recording for a while now.
Fair enough.
Did you know we share an office with a vodka company?
I didn't know that.
Oh, because you could always break in.
This could be
there.
a hot toddy,
Yeah. No, I don't think they mix. I really
No.
don't, because I think when you drink, you lose your inhibition
Inhibitions.
and you say things which are fun at a party, but not a professional party.
I don't really like you, client.
By the way, nobody likes you.
Don't ask questions.
You might do something like that, or I don't know, you might reveal something you shouldn't. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. So maybe you also, to go along with Mike's thing, maybe you also, so you prepare for the questions and complaints that may be coming your way with the boss. And how about also getting a curfew, like say,
I've got to go.
I can leave by, or yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I need
just-
to
Oh,
leave
my wife's
by.
calling me. I gotta head out.
Well, you get somebody to text you or
Yeah,
call you.
Exactly.
Say there's an emergency, I've got to run.
I mean, just think of it as a work, like
It is a
you're
work
going
function.
into work for a couple hours or
Yeah,
whatever
it's
it is.
work.
Yeah. Figure it all out. Talk to the boss in advance, figure out what your requirements and responsibilities are, and then if you're having a good
Yeah.
time, stay, and then
And I
Right.
think that's another point that we often have a hard time accepting is sometimes social functions are part of work. I mean, they're very social industries, but if you find yourself to be a less social person and you have to go to these things, you do have to just remember this is part of the job, right?
Yeah, and
One way or another.
Right, and drinking, unless you have a vodka company like our friend Ron here, I think drinking is not necessarily required, and it's not. I mean, you can
Really sure? No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not.
Can you pop some Xanax before you go if you're going to be
Look, you can do anything you
anxious?
want, but it's your career, and I think it's important to be sober.
Yes.
In any kind of professional environment.
to be fair, maybe the person in the first question, if they'd had a little bit to drink, they would have been a little looser.
right.
you
Well,
know?
then there's that. Right.
Lucy,
I just don't think it goes.
What if everybody else is drinking and they notice that you're not drinking? And your boss
Well-
says, or
Carry-
the client says, you're not having...
get a
you're not
tonic
having
water.
fun,
Yeah,
or-
yeah. You get
Tonic water.
something.
Tonic water.
You get something that looks like it's alcohol, and you have it in. You either get something in a wine glass, or just make it look like it's alcohol.
Just keep slamming it every once in a while, like another one, and then. But it's
Yeah.
just seltzer water.
yeah.
I mean, I don't ever drink, so no one ever really notices it. And the people
Hmm.
that notice it, I think, are the alcoholics. They're just counting everyone else's drinks.
So you can say that if the client says, "Why aren't you drinking?" You can say, "Because you're an alcoholic," something like that.
well, I'll say,
One- yeah,
I've
one of
had
us
my
has to
limit.
That's great. They don't know that your limit's 0. Yeah.
Exactly. They don't know what my limit is. So
Would you say I've hit my limit?
I've hit my limit. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
That's great. Well, my new
Yeah.
thing is to say, because I was at a party a couple weeks ago at a comedy festival, and I wasn't drinking, but it was because I was on psilocybin mushrooms. And so people were like, "Why aren't you drinking?" I'm just carrying around water, and they're like, "Why aren't you drinking?" I'm like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm on mushrooms." They're like, "Okay, that's fine. So you can use that too if you want."
In that crowd, that works.
Yeah.
But if you work for IBM,
Maybe
that
not.
might-
Yeah.
So how were the shrooms? They were good.
Oh, they were good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were good. Okay.
Yeah, big
Well,
fan.
yeah, it doesn't mix well with your medication is another possibility, but of course.
Oh yeah. Say, guys, I'm on a lot of drugs, so I gotta keep it careful.
Oh, all right. I think that's it for this show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Oh, so wait, Mike. So tell us again how people can find you.
My name is Mike Kaplan. I spell Mike weird. It's MYQ, and if you like it, thank you, and if you don't, I understand. And it's MikeKaplan.com, or put Mike Kaplan into anywhere, into Facebook or Twitter or Vine or YouTube or iTunes. My albums are there. My new one's Small Dork and Handsome. So if you search for that on iTunes or Netflix, you'll find it. And my podcast is called Hang Out With Me, and it's on the Keith and the Girl Network at keithandthegirl.com/hang. So you can find all my things. Pretty much if you remember anything about me, then you can find one thing, and then,
It'll
and then
lead to
the
the
rest
others.
will follow. It's not hidden.
Great. And join us next time for another My Crazy Office podcast. And don't forget to send your questions to info@mycrazyoffice.co.
My Crazy Office is produced in New York City at K Squared Studios. Stay crazy.